What's up, y'all? It's Ty in this video. Today, we're going to be going over and ranking our top linebackers right now in college football 25 Ultimate Team. Now, as we do dive into this thing today, if you're new to the channel, please smash that subscribe button. Really do appreciate all of the recent support on the channel. Now, got obviously our 95 overalls and then working our way down all the way to the 92 overalls. So 92 or higher players will ultimately be featured on this tier list. Now, let's start off with Bryce, the new LTD CFP player that did get released today in the game. Honestly, I'm a fan of this middle linebacker. 91 speed, 90 acceleration, 6'2", 90 change of direction, good tackler, good block shed at a 94, good man, good zone. He is, in my opinion, the best middle linebacker in the game. Now, for those of you guys who are like, what, Ty? What about Danny Stutzman? I still like Danny Stutzman. There's nothing that's ever going to make me hate Danny Stutzman. However, I do like Bryce slightly more. Then we're going to go down to Luke Kuechly. So what we're going to do is go from a guy from the top to a guy at the bottom. Luke Kuechly used to be an LTD. It's crazy how far we have come. Honestly, though, Luke Kuechly can still play. 88 speed, 89 acceleration, solid enough block shed, good in zone coverage. He is also 6'3". Kuechly honestly isn't bad. Do wish a card maybe was slightly faster, but I'm going to go C tier for Luke Kuechly. Definitely a card that can play at a really high level. Gbayor up next. He's fine. Do I think he's S tier? No. I do think the card is really good, but the hard part for me with Gbayor is the fact that he's not my favorite outside linebacker, right outside linebacker in the entire game. That's the problem that I do see with Gbayor. 91 speed, 95 acceleration, 6'2", good power moves, solid enough block shed. To me, though, the problem really lies with the fact that if you look at his, zone coverage, it's only an 84. Wish that was slightly higher. Change direction at 85 is fine. The best part about him is going to be getting after the quarterback. That's the best part about this card. However, I don't know if he does that at the highest level. In this game, I'm going A tier. Next up, Jaylen Walker. Talk about a guy that can get after the quarterback with the best of them. It is this card right here. Now, is he as good as Gbayor? No. As far as an overall card, he's not quite as good. However, I do want you guys to know and realize that Jaylen Walker gets after the quarterback with the best of them. 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 93 power moves, good block shed. Problem with him is he can't play coverage. So when you're talking about the best linebackers in the game, I think B tier is the ultimate right spot for Jaylen Walker. Card who you absolutely can play with, but I just don't think he quite, and maybe I got to move some cards down. Maybe I like that a little bit more. Jaylen Walker is fine, but again, I like playing zone coverage sometimes with my outside linebackers, and he just does not do that on the field. Next up, we see a Deontay Lawson. And is he as good as Bryce? It's the first question. I don't think so. However, I think it's relatively close. When I pull up Lawson here, you guys will see everything the card does. 91 speed, 88 acceleration, 87 change direction, solid block shed, or solid tackler, good hit power, but only an 86 block shed. That's a problem. The 88 zone coverage is okay. 87, change of direction is fine. I just think Bryce is slightly better than Lawson. You guys can let me know if you disagree, but that's the reason that I do have him just slightly higher. Manti Te'o for his time was so good. The problem is that time has came and went. Like, Manti Te'o came out, 2 months ago. 90 speed, 90 acceleration, 6'1". He does a lot of things really well on the field. Solid change of direction, zone coverage as well. There's really not a whole lot of flaws in Manti Te'o. The fact of the matter is he's only 6'1". I'm still going to go C tier with the card. Vic Beasley up next. To be honest with you guys, I don't know a whole lot about Vic Beasley. That's the first thing I do want to say for the card. I don't think it would be right for me to sit up here and act like I've used the card a ton, because I haven't. But he looks solid. Like when I'm looking at the card, 92 speed and 94 acceleration, look at the finesse and power moves. Just absolutely incredible. Tackler's incredible as well. Now, yes, dropping in coverage, Vic Beasley's not good. But if you want a guy to get after the quarterback, give me Vic Beasley as being one of those top dogs. I mean, great speed, great acceleration. Card does it all at a really high level. Then to Jacob Rodriguez. I don't like Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, when the card came out, I didn't love him. And now we're to the stage where it's like, I mean, what are we looking at? Genuinely, what are we really looking at here for the card? As far as the tackler, he's fine. Block shed's fine. Getting after the quarterback, he's not good at. In zone coverage, he's not good at. And so it's like, what does the card really do? Well, plays the run, and that's really it, which stinks. He can't drop in zone coverage. He can't get after the quarterback. To me, he's F tier. Roquan Smith up next. And I think A tier is the right spot for Roquan Smith. Now, I will say a lot of these middle linebackers, it's gonna come down to preference based. Like, genuinely, that's where I'm at with a lot of these cards. Roquan Smith has that 92 speed, which is immaculate, 93 acceleration, but only an 81 change of direction. Good block shed, 92 zone coverage, but he's only 6'1". So it really comes down to what you value. Do you value height? Do you value zone coverage? Do you value block shed? What do you value? To me, when I compare Roquan Smith to a guy like Bryce, it's close. I just think Bryce is overall the better option. Why? He's an inch taller. I feel like as far as, the block shed, maybe he's slightly better. I don't know, though. It really is close between the two cards. It's so tough. It's really so tough because as I'm doing this list, it's like, I feel like Roquan Smith should be S tier. So you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put Roquan Smith at S tier. It is what it is. Kennard up next. He's a 92 overall, but he plays way better than that. I'm going to go B tier for Kennard. You got to know what you're getting out of the card. He cannot drop into coverage. It's really that simple, that easy. 89 speed, good acceleration, solid enough block shed. The card is going to get after the quarterback. Outside of that, guess what? He's going to play the run fine. Dropping into coverage, Kennard's not good. So if you have him on a blitz, he's going to be a solid linebacker. If you don't, he is not going to be great. Simpson up next. Weird card. I think this card is only 6 feet tall, if I do remember correctly here. And you know what? You can get by if he's 6 feet tall, but he doesn't rush a quarterback that well. Yes, he plays zone coverage really well, but again, he's only 6 feet tall. He's fine. I just got to go B tier. I got to go B tier. He's fine, though, but he is a B tier linebacker, in my opinion. Kyle Lewis, I'm going to go D tier. I've used this card. He is the one thing about Kyle Lewis is this. He is an all-around linebacker. Like, there's no real flaws in the card. Decent speed, decent acceleration, can somewhat get after the quarterback, can play the run really good, can somewhat drop into coverage. Like, he is an all-around linebacker for sure. I just got to go D tier. I don't love the card. Longwell up next, left outside linebacker. And again, we've got so many linebackers at this stage that it really comes down to what you specifically want. When I'm looking at Longwell, here's what you're looking at. 91 speed, 94 acceleration, bad change direction, can't get after the quarterback, can't play a ton of zone coverage, 6'1". The only thing he can do is stop the run, and that's it. To me, he's D tier. I don't like the card whatsoever. What does he do on the field for you? Not a whole lot. Jake Goldie up next. Let's see what the card gets into. Again, at this stage, you got to just look the card up because we have so many linebackers at this stage. It's tough to keep track of. 90 speed, okay. 94 acceleration, okay. Solid enough change direction. Great tackler. But his block shed's not great. He's not great in zone coverage. He is 6'4". I mean, I guess I'll put him one step higher at C tier. He's better than Longwell, but it's not by much. C tier for Goldie is where the card belongs. Katz and Moyer up next. Look, I've ran this card quite a bit. He's fine. For his time, he was a lot better than he is now. D tier. I'm not even going to bring up the card. That's where he's at. Matt Jones up next. Here's the tough part. And this is where things get really dicey. If Lawson is going to be A tier, where do I have Matt Jones? Because I actually like Matt Jones. I have no issues with Matt Jones. He's got 89 speed, 88 acceleration, 6'3", 89 change of direction, good in zone coverage, solid block shed, gets after the quarterback. He's a complete middle linebacker. He's maybe not as fast as these top guys, but he's an absolute beast. It's just tough because I don't think he's quite as good as Lawson. And so I don't know where to be with Matt Jones. Again, I really have no issues with the card. I just don't know where to put him. I do like Matt Jones, but I think D tier is ultimately the right spot for the card. Next up, we've got Kyle Van Noy. I need to go back to the bottom. Kyle Van Noy is a stud. He's S tier. To me, he's the best outside linebacker we have in this entire game. And I know people are going to disagree with me on that, and that's perfect because I love talking about this card. 92 speed, 93 acceleration, 91 change direction, great at getting after the quarterback, 89 block shed, not necessarily the best, but it's fine. Great man, great zone, 6'3". There are no flaws in Kyle Van Noy. The best outside linebacker right now in the entire game is Kyle Van Noy. Next up, we got Jaheim Thomas working our way back to the bottom. I'm going to go D tier. He's fine. Not horrible, but that's where he is. Power Echols. I'm going to go B tier. I don't love Power Echols, and I know people want to gas him. He's fine, but at the middle linebacker position, if it's like between him and Matt Jones, I'm probably taking Matt Jones. And I know Echols might be slightly faster, might do some things slightly better. So I'm taking TJ Daugherty. D tier. A lot of these 92 overall middle linebackers are just going to be a D tier. I don't mind them, but like when you're talking about the best middle linebackers, it's where I'm at with the card. Paul Posluszny, I've got the card. I've used the card. It's just like, again, I prefer, Danny Stutzman when I get there. The card's fine, though. 6'2", change of direction's not great, but good in zone coverage, solid block shed. I'm going to go B tier. He's fine. He's absolutely fine. Next up, we got Cody Simon. Honestly, I kind of like this Cody Simon card, and you guys might not like the fact that I like him, but when I look at the card, he's got good speed, good acceleration, good block shed, great in zone coverage, great change of direction. What's not to like about Cody Simon? The fact that he's 6'2"? I mean, genuinely. I think Cody Simon, honestly, is a B-tier middle linebacker on this game. That's how I am on Cody Simon. If you don't agree with me, that's fine, but tell me why I'm wrong. Like, Cody Simon is an absolute stud on this game, and if you know, the card can play at an extremely high level. Danny Stutzman up next. He's S tier. I don't care. To me, at the middle linebacker position, it's Stutzman and Bryce. And then I guess I had to throw Roquan Smith in there, but I don't even know if I like, Roquan Smith at that S tier. Honestly, I think Danny Stutzman's the real deal. I'm moving Roquan Smith down to A tier. It's my personal bias, but it is what it is. Danny Stutzman, to me, is the best middle linebacker in the entire game. Am I biased? Yes. But like everybody says, everybody's biased. It's just human nature to be biased. Next up, Jacob Walberg. Like, I mean, is he Wahlburgers, or like what is so special about Walberg? Like, can somebody enlighten me why I would run this card? Like, is he the franchise owner of Wahlburgers? I know he's not, but I'm just saying, like, this card stinks. He's got 84 speed and 64 change of direction. I am never running this card ever. F tier for the card. I do not care. Unless, somehow, some way he ends up being, the franchise owner at Wahlburgers or something, he's never going to play for me. I'm sorry. F tier for Jacob Walberg. I apologize. Khalil Mack. I mean, he's fine. I don't love him, though. I don't love him. When Khalil Mack came out, I wasn't a big fan, and I'm not a big fan now. It's the way it is. 88 speed. A 90 block shed is fine. Good in change of direction. Zone coverage is okay. He's 6'3", which is okay. He's just average. He's just average. Gets after the quarterback decent. He's just average, C tier. Next up, we do see, who is this? Shea Taylor? Card I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea what this card is going to get into. 84 speed. I mean, my goodness. What are these cards? Why are these cards even in the game? Get off of get off. Ernest Hosman up next. I think when this card came out, I wasn't a big fan, so how am I supposed to be a big fan now? I don't know. Look at the card, see what the card does, though. But again, at this stage, there are so many linebackers in the game that it's kind of tough for me to keep track of. 91 speed is impressive. Change direction's okay. Block shed's okay. Not going to get after the quarterback, but if you play a lot of zone coverage with your outside linebackers, this card's not the worst. He has really, really solid speed acceleration, good enough block shed, solid enough zone coverage. C tier. I don't hate the card. Scooby Wright III is actually good on this game. I don't know if people really use this card a whole ton, but he can absolutely play. Let's pull up Scooby so I can talk about the card. Now, let's start with this. He only has 89 speed. That is, I don't want to say super concerning, but after we just got done with a linebacker with 91 speed, it is definitely something to note. 92 acceleration, but good block shed, gets after the quarterback decently and plays decent zone coverage. The problem with Scooby is this, though. As I'm looking at the card, it's he's only 6 foot tall. So, for Scooby to be elite, he'd have to be a lot taller, and he's just not. So, I think D tier is the right tier. Chris Rogers. I'd be lying to say I had any idea what Chris Rogers does on this game. And maybe you guys do. Maybe you guys really are using Chris Rogers or something. But I personally gotta look up what this card does provide for us on the floor. Oh my gosh. Another 84 speed. Get off the field. 84 speed is not getting the job done. Grayson Howard is going up to B tier. He is right now my right outside linebacker. Now, part of it's I got the card for free. So, yeah, I mean, I have no issues running a free card. But the card is good. I know he's only got 88 speed. A lot of people are going to overreact to that. But he's got good change of direction, great block shed, great zone coverage, and he is 6'4". Now, look, I know his rushing the quarterback stats aren't that great. So if that's what your primary job is out of your right outside linebacker, you might be better elsewhere. But for me, Grayson Howard, one of the best outside linebackers in the entire game. I'm going B tier. Powell up next. I actually like this Powell card. You could get the card for absolutely free if you grind your challenges, and this card is actually good on this game, and I can't even believe I'm saying this. 89 speed, 92 acceleration, change direction's not good, but his block shed is good enough, but he is 6'5", so as a user, he's fine, because he is 6'5" on the field. So I'm going to throw him at C tier. Stats might not be that great, but he is 6'5". Jaylen McLeod stinks. D tier. Like, I don't care that he's a 93 overall. The card absolutely reeks. Look up his stats. I mean, he can't drop into coverage whatsoever. Kyle Van Noy, 92 overall. I'd be lying to say I honestly know the stats of him. However, I mean, if the good Kyle Van Noy is high, I'm not going to hate this Kyle Van Noy. He's probably not as good for sure, but look at the card. 90 speed, 90 acceleration, 88 change of direction, gets after the quarterback, solid enough block shed, solid in coverage. This would be my budget outside linebacker for you guys. Kyle Van Noy is an absolute stud. Still only C tier, but the card is really, really solid. Lander Barton, you're going up. I love me some Lander Barton on this game. I think he is one of the best budget linebackers in the game. 90 speed, 89 acceleration, 85 change of direction, good in zone coverage, good block shed. He's 6'4". There is no flaws in this card whatsoever. And this is why I'm so passionate about telling you guys, you know, what cards are overrated, because ratings really do not matter on this game. Like, they don't matter. Ratings are just ratings. Lander Barton is better than a lot of these 94 overall cards. Like, he is that good. That's why I'm going to respect the card, putting him where I ultimately did. Next up after Lander Barton, we do see I'd be lying to say I have any idea what this card gets into. Like, genuinely, I have no idea for Andrew. 88 speed, 92 acceleration, bad change direction, can't play zone coverage. The 95 block shed is crazy. I'm going to go D tier. He's not as bad as these guys at F tier, but the card's not very good. Easton up next. This card's not bad. He's no Lander Barton, though. Like, Lander Barton is definitely better than this card, but he can definitely play 90 speed, 93 acceleration, good change direction. Honestly, problem with this card is he's only 6 feet tall. But I don't care. With his stats, he does enough to me to be a B tier. Like, he does. Good speed, good acceleration, gets after the quarterback, good block shed, good in zone coverage. You do enough for me to be at B tier. Next up, Penn the third. I think this is the card that goes at C tier. And again, I'm not saying he's bad, but I do think that's ultimately where he belongs. 91 speed is crazy. Good change direction, good in zone coverage. No, this card is decent as well. 6'2". I'm going to go B tier as well. A lot of these cards, it really is preference based. But it's hard for me to hate on any of them because all of them give you something on the field. Last but certainly not least, Phoenix Jackson, another right outside linebacker here. I think if I remember right, this card is not great. Let's look though. 90 speed. Good enough acceleration. Change direction's not great, but he plays zone coverage. He's only 6 feet tall, D tier. Like, if you're a coverage type of outside linebacker and you're only 6 feet tall, it is really, really tough for me to be super high on you. So that's where I'm at with Phoenix Jackson. Don't hate me, hate the game. Like, it's not my fault. That is gonna wrap it up for our linebacker tier list today. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Like, I don't necessarily love having like this Paul Posluszny at the same tier as all these other cards. Maybe you could go up to A tier, but then I feel like Roquan Smith would have to go up as well. So a lot of this is just tough because it's like, where do you draw the line? You know, like it's so tough to draw the line right now on where you end up putting these cards at. So don't overreact to it. But again, this is where I do have all these players. Really love Kyle Van Noy. Price should go down come Sunday. That's where I'm at. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.